Records, Easy, the Elder, Black Collar Workers, stand up. It's called a unity, dig? Doesn't matter the profession. Listen, my work is black collar, I work as that scholar in this. Where those followers miss, I don't follow, I hit. I work with that dollar and cents, and the purchase is worth what I spent, cause I paid attention. Even when I couldn't afford it, I bought it and retained my pension, still working. In my office, it's where the bosses sit, right across from this skilled person. And the cost it gets kinda lost to split with me, myself, and I. It's the soul, need no help to fly. In control and stealth and by from outer space, not outer space. Cause I'm timeless and without a place. Find this behind this outer case. Faceted diamond without a face. I wear a black collar, no white or blue. We've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. With no white or blue, we've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. I ain't into them cameras flashing, posing, glamorous fashion. I'm in the back and I'm relaxing. Samuel Jackson style, don't know the man, I'm just a fan of his acting. I blow down the grams, I packed in the swisher to slow down the camera on the action. Sit your ass in that amateur class and acting, practice for cameras passing. I got more stamina, passion, and patience to wait than the average assassin. Behind the scenes, I'm character casting, write and produce as the character cashing checks. Without any flash effects and stunt doubles, I have respect, I'm pro-humble. Without a cast and set, your show crumbles. I yell cut, I don't mumble. I wear a black collar, no white or blue. We've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. With no white or blue. We've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. I take credit for nothing, won't bet if I'm bluffing. No debt, I owe nothing to them who loan nothing to him. I'ma own something again, a lump sum. If it's not from within, I want none. And I ain't gotta pretend I front none of the time. I'm one of a kind with one son and one daughter to carry the traits and the genes. It's sort of contrary to fate, and the seams are stitched in. It fits them, they don't switch when friends get hip to this trend or that one. Keep your name brands, fashion keeps them wrapped the same man. It's masking true identity, contrasting the true entity in me, surpassing who I pretend to be. I'm through asking, who am I? I am, but who's asking? I wear a black collar, no white or blue. We've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. With no white or blue. We've paid dues, it's united too. No fake moves to divide the crew. If you a black collar worker, making that dollar work for you. But I'm not a rapper. From the old school to the ancient temple, I like that. That's my album.
Check. All right. I think I'm looking real glossy. Am I in heaven? What's going on? Just look real glossy for some reason. I don't know. Let me see. I don't even know if there's something that. Let me see. I don't know what the issue is on that, but we'll find out. All right, so you tuned in to another edition of Free Thinkers. I am one of the hosts. I'm here to talk that stuff where we talk about debate and conversation and all different types of things. Anything, and I mean this with all of my heart, anything that society tells you that you shouldn't talk about, whether it's religion, politics, relationships, the things that people are shying away from talking about is exactly the thing that we want to talk about. So today we're going to have a thing called Pick Your Post, and on Pick Your Post, it's basically posts that are posted on our Facebook page. So some people may be watching from YouTube, some people may be watching from Facebook. We do have a Free Thinkers page. If you have not already added yourself to that group, add yourself to the Free Thinkers group page. And with that, you'll see a lot of these type of conversations going on. Pick a Post is usually one of my favorite segments that we have, because it gives me the opportunity to talk about a lot of things that normally don't get to talk about, or oftentimes it's hard to say. It's hard to fully express your thought in just characters, especially me, because I talk in circles and I keep regurgitating the same thing until I fully get the thought out. But sometimes when you're just in a comment section, it's hard for me to really get my thought out. So this is also an opportunity for you to get on as well. Talk about some of these topics and issues that you have. And it's also a good exercise, whether you're a podcaster or not. Get outside of the Twitter finger world where everything is texting. All communication is done by some type of type form. You got to be able to talk too. Be quick, be quick with your brain when it comes to the things that you talk about. So this is just an opportunity to rub thoughts and ideas against other like-minded, aspiring, free-thinking people. So with that being said, if you want to get on, just check out the link that is above on the Free Thinkers page. If you having trouble finding the link, then just shoot, I don't know what to tell you. Send me a message. I might try to help you find it. But if you go to the Free Thinkers page, then the link is listed directly above, and you'll be able to click on it and find it. Hopefully. I think so. Let me make sure I got it up here. Yes, I got it. Anybody having trouble getting on, just let me know and I'll repost it again. Now, once you get on, you want to make sure you have you want to have some headphones if you can, be somewhere that's quiet, because the sound does bleed also. So if you don't have any headphones, then it's this echoing thing that you hear. Also keep in mind that we do and we will have discussions that are of adult content and adult language. So if you're around sensitive, if you or are around somebody that has sensitive ears, keep that in mind, because we don't really censor anything here. It's a wonder that we haven't been. It's a wonder that I have not been put in jail yet. And speaking of my partner Nikki, I don't know, she may or may not be here today, but regardless, hop on and we're going to have some conversations. You know, I don't wait for nobody, so I'll jump in and just get started. Also, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe and like to our YouTube channel. So when situations like this come up, then you still won't miss us. There's several people. There's actually someone that I know who used to be a part of our group, said they were banned for life. Like they had a permanent ban from Facebook. Like they can't ever get back on. I thought that was like, dang, pretty crazy. So anyway, if you have anything from the post, this is your opportunity. If you have anything from the post that you want to talk about, this is your opportunity to do so. We are open to talk about anything from the post that you so desire to do. So that we about to get started into it. Speaking of, I was thinking about one of your posts that you had earlier, Tierra. How you doing?
I'm well, and yourself? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sound good.
Good.
You got a microphone. Shoot.
Yeah, got my little I'm on my laptop today.
Got that good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that Mac.
That's okay. So let me, before I just jump around, is there any topic or any posts on the page or on any page for that matter that grabbed your attention that you want to talk about?
I'm open. I'm open to discuss anything. I did see, and I don't know if anybody posted it. There was a gentleman that was hosting a podcast, and he was pretty upset that the gentleman that he had on at that time was not cooperating with his narrative about women being sick and tired of cooking and cleaning. And that was so hilarious to me because it was like, dude couldn't understand like what the guy was saying, but the guy was just like, yeah, basically we share the chores at home, and you know.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so back up. So there's a podcaster. There's, I'm guessing, a host and a guest. Is that right? Is it just those two, or is it multiple people?
It's just two people.
So the guest
host was trying to make I guess he was trying to say something about women these days don't always tired and they don't know what they're tired from. And he had somebody come on to the show and discuss, what he think they could be tired of. And the gentleman wasn't kind of following where he wanted him to go. He thought he was going to go one way, and the gentleman kind of agreed with the women, saying, yeah, they're tired of working. And he was like,
right,
they're tired of doing what? He's like, yeah. And so it was just that was kind of hilarious when I see men push back on certain things. I love to see that. Not that it has to be any particular topic, but I just love the way they engaged. And it was just, the guy was pretty frank about it. He was kind of like, I can't understand what you don't understand, bruh.
So then what did the host, he get kind of lost since he couldn't go?
He was flustered. He was clearly flustered. He was like, so what roles do you guys play in the house? So after he was, the gentleman was not going along with his narrative. Right. He was like, well, what roles do you play in your house? He said, what do you mean, what roles? He was like, yeah, roles. What roles? He's like, it's no roles. The guest was like, it's no roles. We do everything together. He was like, so if something so the host asked him if something need to be built, who builds it? And so the guest was like, depends on what it is. If it's some toys, she's better at that with me. And putting together some toys. He's like, man, and he kind of hung up because he's pissed that the man wasn't engaging the way he wanted to. And I'm just like, we got to get out of that 1950s, 40s ideology, because really Black people, especially, didn't have the luxury of having that distinguished role, because we all had to just basically help around the house. We had to be providers. We had to do what we had to do because we didn't have that wealth and income.
So that's one of the things that gets on my nerves really bad for men who speak with that good old days type of language. Yeah. And it's like, it's so undoable. Like, people don't take into consideration. Yeah, back when my father was growing up, his one job at the factory over there could pay for the house, 2 cars, the dental, and one job. That doesn't happen in most cases nowadays. And what in the world do you expect if your partner, the woman, has to work just as much as you? Why would you expect her to do all of these other duties when you both putting in the same amount of time?
And then it was just like, you know what I'm saying? He was just like, some days I cook, and he said, we're both tired.
Right.
He's like, it's not really a assigned task. And the guy couldn't understand that. And it's like, the host felt like, even though the woman's out, making a living, she's still supposed to come home and do all these things. And it's like, I don't think women care to do it. We do it because it needs to be done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's not like, if I'm a male and I see that I can help out, why wouldn't I help out? Like, that just doesn't make sense to me.
So I think there's a space for that type of mindset. So if you have that type of mindset, number one, you make sure that you can provide all things, everything that you need: the house, the cars, the food, the bills, everything, savings, all of that. Then in that case, you have the right to make that request. Now, on the second side of this, just because you have the ability to do that, not every woman wants to be Susie Homemaker.
No.
So once you get that part together for yourself, then you find someone, because there's another percentage of women who they don't want to do nothing else but be Susie Homemaker.
Yeah.
You need to find one of those women, and then y'all can work that out. But to think that that's going to be the across the board norm in every relationship in society, that gets on my nerves, because that it's not realistic.
It's not,
and it's unfair on top of that.
It's not realistic. It's unfair. And then it's like those be the same gentlemen that think that the woman should pay 50% of the bills. It's like, where is the 50-50 on her end? It's all beneficial to him and not beneficial to, you know, her in any form or fashion. Like, what does she gain from this relationship? And they wonder, and this kind of just lead into my other one post I did post, or I don't know if I posted this. It was a study, and it was saying that more men are on dating apps than ever before, more than, you know, women. And I was watching this on the news today. They were talking about like who would do a reality show and what reality show would you do, and they said almost all the men said they would do a dating reality show. And it just leads me to believe that maybe the way males are, you know, interpreting how households should be led, it should be led and done is inaccurate for a lot of the people that they choose, because you have a choice on who you choose. And if that person doesn't meet that, then a lot of times you're going to either remain single, or you're going to have a problem finding someone that really does meet to those standards, I think.
So why do you think more men are getting on these dating apps? I think I got a response to that, but I'm wondering what you think.
I think it's easy access. It's easy. You know, it's less work than having to be at a club and, you know, you have this big personality to attract a woman. Where I can be on an app, I show a picture of my car, you know, this, that, and the third, show me on a trip, and maybe I can get a couple hits. I can hit several people that way, as opposed to paying this money for a club. It's just easier.
And in addition to what you're saying, the filtering process is much cheaper. So you can find, you know, see, because if all you're doing is going straight out on dates, you might spend, you know, anywhere from $100 to $300, and could be nothing in common, like absolute complete miss. But that money, and what I do know, because I had a short period of time from my divorce to my next relationship, it add up quick.
It does.
I'm like, it's getting expensive quick. You just keep going out, and I was having fun, but I saw like, yo, the money is real. By the third date that week that you on, you like, shoot, I done spent the grip. So I think that could be part of it. I got any other reasons you think? I think that society just also we're in a microwave society.
Yeah.
All the way around.
I think it definitely is just easy access. And it really, what you said, filter out. A lot of men they look at the physical. And so they can just pick away the physicality of what they like. Oh, this, I like that. I like, oh, she looks good. She looks good. She looks good. Whereas, like I said, they don't have to bring anything to the table there. They already lay out whatever they want.
Been surprised back in the day too, back before social media, and she sounded good over the phone. But boy, woo-wee, when I met her,
right? Was it Friday? Matter of fact,
Friday was worse than Friday. It was worse.
You don't look like Janet Jackson.
She ain't look like Janet Jackson, but I forgot. God rest her soul. She was still cute though, at least.
Yeah.
She was just bigger, but she was cute. The one in my experience, eyes going in different directions and all other kind. I was like, oh man. Shoot.
Oh no.
And I'm a nice guy, so I'm like, how do I get myself out of this?
We have had some horrible, men and females have had horrible dating.
You know what make it bad? What make it real bad? Because all that mess I was talking on the phone, and I can tell that she knows that my whole speech pattern, the way I was talking, everything then switched up from the moment I didn't seen you. So I'm over here GK, GQ, smooth, suave, talking all that big boy stuff. And then when I see her, then it's like,
nah.
I change up. Then I'm trying to be your buddy and your friend, and they be like, yeah, it still ain't the same. Anyway, what was you gonna say?
I was gonna say, and they were saying that a lot of men, there's more men in nursing homes, and a lot of people don't come to visit. You know, just hearing from some nurses' standpoint, residents saying that a lot of men don't get visits like opposed to women, and why is that? And I mean, I don't know. I mean, there could be a lot of reasons behind that. You know, some men do have challenges. Women too. It's not just men, but some men are have challenges with expression and emotions.
You have not because you ask not.
And so they don't have the ability to even speak up for themselves. To say, hey, can somebody come?
Hey, I'm lonely. Come hang out with me sometime. You know, and that in itself can be harder for a man to just admit sometimes.
Yeah.
And if you haven't practiced doing that over the course of your life, it's hard. And it's it can. You got to work on you got to work on some stuff early in life, because when it get later, there's going to be certain traits you need to pick up that's going to be very necessary. So you don't be sitting in a home by yourself.
It's going to be a little too late because you haven't had those some conversations. And
a lot of your people, your friends, family, children, whatever. Oh, well, you know, dad, uncle, you was always to yourself. I didn't even know you want a company like that.
Yep. Scared to express, hey, you know, I miss you guys. I want to see you. You know what I'm saying? That it takes away that bravado or macho or that, you know, masculinity that men think that they need to have a lot of times.
Right.
I don't know if it's a protection mechanism, because I was asking why males tend to be more violent, you know, in a sense. And this stretches all nationalities and races. And so I was like, I think as I was telling somebody, I think as we were in a society that was more expanded, where we didn't have so much a tight community, we had a lot of conquer and conquest type of atmosphere. So men had to be protectors because there was people migrating everywhere. So they had to come across people they weren't familiar with. And so they had to have this protection mechanism. And that has translated down over time, where now it's not a divide and conquer type of conquest, but that same rooted type of bravado has stuck. And so I think that protection mechanism is something that they are attached to. And maybe what keeps them.
Let me ask this. Is it possible that it's just in our nature?
That's what I'm saying. It's nature. I think it is nature.
Because I mean, look, if you watch the Animal Kingdom channel, hey, the lion with the biggest set of balls who willing to fight the other lions, they the one get all the females.
The fighting and the hunting in far as lions go.
No, they do the hunting, but the males have to compete for who's going to be the one that's breeding the female.
The pack, who has the pride, has the pack. You're absolutely right.
That's the gorillas, goats,
for
everything.
Mating.
For mating. The seals can't even walk. They just just hitting each other with the tusks.
Yeah, so maybe
it's real nature in the field out there.
And maybe women have and I question this, and this is conversations I had brought up about males aspects. I said women have a lot to play in the violence, because we kind of uplift the violence to a point where we're attracted to the bad guy. We're attracted to that bad boy. And so of course everybody
Y'all be talking out of two sides of y'all mouth too.
Why you say that?
Because see, this is where the men get the mixed signals. So it's, I want a nice guy. I want somebody who listens and sensitive and caring, and they say all these nice attributes. But then when they see the bad boy on TV or in concert or something, then it's the different look. It's not the sentimental emotional side. It's the that he can get it type of. Well, that's like, no, that's what I want. I don't care about all the hugging and chumming up and walking in the park. That's cool, but I still want that. Yeah, he can get it. We want that too. So we hear one thing, but then on the other side, like, I see on the other side what kind of spikes your interest in other ways too. So,
and I think women instinctively want that person that they will know that will protect them, and it doesn't say that the bad guy is always going to be the person that protects them, but I think that's instinctively how we look at it. We want the biggest, toughest. A lot of times when even in nature, they want the most, the biggest type of animal, the fish that puffs up the biggest to be attracted to. That was what attracts them. The loudest bird sound or the colorful snake, they're attracted to that. The loud of their scent is an attraction, whereas the one that's more meek and humble and quiet gets looked over. And so that's why I said women has a part to play in the violence among men, because a lot of times it's out of reaction of trying to keep this image for a desire to women.
Oh, okay. So we're gonna do a little bit of jumping around, but that's all right. So we ain't gonna be on topic there, right? Because you just made me think about something. Did you see a post? This was a post about maybe a month ago. I think it was on Free Thinkers. It was somewhere I saw. I think it was on Free Thinkers. But it was a post about a woman talking about how they put their scent like on them, like perfume.
I seen that.
In order to
attract people.
What do you think about that?
I think we all have scents, and I do think something chemically can attract people. Absolutely. I think it's because when you go to Macy's counter to get perfume or cologne, right? Every cologne and perfume don't work with everybody. Like literally, I went to. True. We were in Houston one time and all of us were at the counter, and I think it was like, I can't even think about it, the name of the fragrance. And when it was on Jessica, it smelled great. When it was on me, I was like, it didn't agree with me that much. And so even when you smell cologne, like literally I can smell someone with cologne and want to, kind of, it gets you, it does something chemically to you. You like, ooh. It kind of gives you kind of like a feel good, like serotonin get released or something like, woo. But that's not everybody, and everybody's right. So do I think that works? I absolutely do.
I think it does too. I do too. I think it does.
It's
not, and it's right? the thing you got to remember, it's not going to be for everyone, but someone whose nose is compatible with your scent, then it will be a huge turn on.
That is odd. I mean, when you think about it, it's like, putting your.
And because I got this strong, my ancestors blessed me with this strong African scent. That's why.
Like, say you haven't bathed, and you know what I'm saying, like you hadn't put a cologne.
And even if I have, it's still
pronounced.
The hint of it is still there, and especially by the end of the day, then it's definitely stronger. So I had an ex who couldn't stand the way I was like, oh, here you go smelling again. Now, mind you, I'm a clean person. I play basketball, so I take showers 2-3 times a day. Not 3, but a lot of times I take showers 2 times a day. Right. But so it wasn't it was just my natural.
No, I know
smell.
exactly what there is people.
And it was the one person is like, yeah. And the next person was, oh, come here. Like they want to be up under me the moment if I came back from the basketball court and I was, you know, it was strong on me, then it's like they just they can't get enough of it.
I had a guy that loved when I came he wanted me to go to the gym and then loved the scent after I went to gym. I thought that was so awkward because it was at a younger age. And I was like, ew, like, you know, I don't want to come by there and I've been at the gym. They was like, no, do not go and shower, come here. And I'm like, that is,
and it sounds crazy, but I have those instances. I'm like, no, you ain't got to take no shower yet. Just you can take a shower afterwards. Hold on.
Like, what? No, I know it just attracts you. And then you're right. You know, even hair, scent just everywhere. And your hair, you could be all, you know, can be off-putting or actually, you know, alluring. So
yes,
that is true. That's kind of wild. Speaking of male and female, I want to bring up a topic we kind of discussed a little bit about, going back to violence and the ability. I feel like there's a disconnect in the reading, and I think because reading gives you so much as far as emotional intelligence. And I think we miss that because a lot of times you see these senseless violence and murder, and it's like, where is your mind at to just be okay with that? Like, how? Like, I would feel, I don't, unless it's for protection, to just literally kill somebody and not feel anything. Like, where are we going wrong with these kids? And so there was a study done with the prison to pipeline, and they basically take reading levels at a certain elementary age, and if they haven't got on point with that reading level, that's how they judge how many prisons they will need. And so you can read about it in Prison to Pipeline. They go off of their reading level. It's the reading level. And so I'm like, what is it there with the reading level? Why is it that, you know, they judge that for the you know, a more higher point of crime in their, you know, that they're going to commit crime. And so I thought about what we really don't see with reading. Like, we read, but you really don't know what that actually does for you. Reading is it does something to the mind, because you have to interpret what the emotion is of that person or that character. It's a lot to have to digest, and it takes time. Whereas I see a lot of senseless violence as impulse. So I wanted to talk to you about that, because you was like, I don't know about that.
Well, this is, I will say, on one side, just in my experience, especially being on both sides, being a terrible communicator and then actually working on my communication, I do observe that the most violent people, men, I'm talking about, typically have a very tough time communicating. So it's the violence usually just becomes their default when they can't talk it out or they can't express themselves. Matter of fact, their inability to express themselves creates more frustration, which kind of heightens the violence. That's just my experience. But okay, so you were, I see. I didn't put the connection to the reading to prison or violence, but I think the post that you were looking at, the one that kind of talked about the like what's the
reading proficiency,
right? So, and I just looked at why there is a gap, and typically it's whenever you're in low class neighborhoods, whenever you're in single parent homes, you don't typically, there's not as much emphasis put on education. The emphasis is on survival.
True.
and making sure that these bills
Right.
are paid.
You ain't got lights to read the book in, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like it's kind of like us stuff.
And then just basic, you think about a lot of, and it's funny, like a lot of white families, Indian families, Asian families, one thing that they have in common more than others is that they often have the one parent working, and they oftentimes they have another parent at home. And their job is to raise the kids, make sure that they're learning properly, that they're on track in school, or even excelling in school. Like when a kid gets behind in a single parent neighborhood, who has the time to keep up and get them back up to speed?
No one.
And usually by the time that they've gotten so far behind, like it's tough to get them back up to speed by that point. And then do you have the energy to do it? And then you also get into the cycle factor. If the parent was in the same situation as the kid, then how much do they even know to tell the children?
Right.
So
and then
it's
resources and resources too, because
and think about the schools that these children are going to in lower income communities.
Like I was shocked prior to my son going to the school he ended up graduating from. There was then the other elementary, you didn't go home with books, but it wasn't because it was a shortage. They didn't have enough books, so they would get printouts. Yeah. They would get like I remember going to school, Quentin, and I had books. I had
heavy
like 8 books.
That's why you needed a boyfriend to help you carry the books.
And you remember when you write your name in the front, it's got 12 names for you. Yeah. We had books. These kids were getting printouts. And so then when he got to the school, he, kind of the North Fulton County schools, they gave them laptops for everything. And their books were online. And I don't even know what happened down there. I'm sure they got laptops as well. But, I was like, how did a kid supposed to learn and they got books?
I was so upset. So this is in a previous relationship. My ex-girlfriend, she had some boys that I raised as my own, but the son would come back from school. Where your homework at? Oh, I don't have any homework today. Next day, where your homework? Oh, I don't have homework. Next day, where you oh, we don't have homework. What you mean you don't have homework? Right. Where's your books? we do all the work in class. We can't take the books with us. I thought he was lying, making up stuff.
Right.
I thought like you lying because you don't want to do no homework.
Right.
Well, I go up to the school and they couldn't take their books. They had to leave them there at the school. Number one, they was these old ass books. Looked like they were hand-me-downs from some other school
or something.
And it's like you could tell and it was like they just whatever they do in class, that's what they do, but they don't have any homework. How are you preparing these children for later down the road if you're not giving them any homework? They're gonna have homework when they get to junior high and high school, and they ain't gonna know what to do with it because they ain't never did no homework. It's like you're setting them up for failure. My mind was blown when I had to deal with that.
I was the same way. I was like, I can't believe you don't have books. Like books? Like books. Like you're supposed to have we had an English book. We had matter of fact, literature you had the physical book and then you had a writing book.
Yes. Yep. I remember that too. Yep.
Like you had 2 books for English. Yep. And then you had your math. So I was like, it wasn't making sense. And then I'm just like, well, our kids always get the short end of the stick. And you don't get to see those disparities of education and learning until you have them in a different environment. And then you start to see that, something is wrong in our education system. And this is why the prison to pipeline exists. If you don't start these kids day one the way we need to be able to educate them, to prepare them, like none of the schools were preparing them for college. Like I'll admit, MacArthur did not prepare me for college. It didn't.
You went to MacArthur?
for a year.
How many years?
A year. I was supposed to go 2 years, but I graduated early, a year early.
Oh, okay. So you was in and out. I'm like,
I was in and
I
out.
slept all through high school, so it's hard for me to remember.
I graduated 98 at MacArthur. And I noticed even then, right.
I graduated in 99. I graduated in 99.
I was supposed to graduate in 99, but because I
was supposed to graduate in 98.
Okay, well, we
just
but because but you got to remember, I came from Argentina.
Right.
The work world load was different. We were more advanced. We were on Block A schedule. Block A schedule mimicked college. It was 188 hours. So you were in a class, you only have 4 classes a day, and they were rotational. Right. So you had one class Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the other 2 Tuesday and Thursday, and the next week it flipped. So we really got to experience that. When I went to MacArthur, they didn't. I mean, I loved MacArthur. I'm glad I graduated from MacArthur, but at the same time, and I learned the differences. I could tell immediately that they just were, they were just filling spaces to get whatever money they needed for grants to keep the school open.
What was good for me is really good that because I think a year or 2 after I left, they upped the credit requirement to graduate.
Oh, they did.
If they would up I wouldn't have never graduated.
Yeah, I had too many credits.
And that's what I knew, like people like you, I think Shock. It was a couple people, they was graduating 2.5, 3 years. They was out of there. So then they start upping the requirements. If they would have upped those credit requirements, I wouldn't have got out.
Yeah. It was
because I think they went from like 18 to like 22 credits. I'm like, took me 5 years to get to 18 credits.
Okay. I didn't know if that was me or you. To go from Argentina to MacArthur, it was definitely a big leap and change. And I could tell that if someone was raised all the way from their journey in that same type of environment of MacArthur type of style teaching, how much they could have missed. And how much they gained too. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot I didn't get at Argentina that I did at MacArthur. So,
like in what way?
So there was we read
educationally
books,
or just for
we read books that I felt were heavily Caucasian in nature, whereas I believe in some of and I didn't get to experience all the classes, but I've heard with some of the books, you guys had a more variety of books. I think you guys read oh god, what did they talk about this book? I can't think of the name. Fly. Don't let me go. But anyways, I can't think of it. But there were certain books that really taught you about social movements and social things that I think was more on a liberal side, whereas Argentina was more on the conservative.
Oh, it's presented.
Yeah. So we read John Steinbeck. Lord of the Flies. I think you guys read like Lord of the Flies and things like that in those school, where we was reading more of John Steinbeck.
Okay, I don't even know who that is.
It was the most terrible book ever, like the Red Pony and shit. I was like, what is this? What is this?
Nope, I don't even know that.
Yeah, so we were reading some of the more conservative values, so we don't even realize how conditioned we are,
right?
By going and just you thinking a book is a book. It's not. It teaches you a lot,
right?
And they're having agenda.
They conditioning you, yeah.
There is agenda behind it. Like they're not giving the books that they put on the list for school is purposefully done. So
yeah, they do. No, they do absolutely.
Yeah, so if you look at the books compared to one school to another, they'll have a range of books. But then their faculty gets together and say, okay, well, we're going to read these set. Even though you might have 50 books to choose from. And then this faculty say, because it's more predominantly Black, we're going to read this. And so it just becomes like two different worlds. And unfortunately, some kids miss out.
Yeah, it's a cycle, and they know it's a cycle. And then even think about, because I was reading into it's basically redlining, but they call it something else, something racial covenants or something like that they had going on for years, where they had it written into policies that they would not sell to anybody unless they were white. Like, we're not selling to black people in this neighborhood. We're not selling to, and we just thought like, all right, well, shoot, maybe I can't get a loan if I just have some cash. It don't matter if you got cash, you still can't get this house. It's like, dang.
It's so deep, and people don't realize a lot of times giving Black people money as reparations is not as valuable as we think. No, don't get me wrong. I'll take the money. I'll take the money. But the land was the big value that we missed out on.
Correct.
And insurance, life insurance. So we could pass money down. We didn't get those opportunities. And so you have like places like Tulsa that got burned to the ground. Insurance would not pay out on them because they were saying, well, we don't insure you guys. But the land was that was key to them being successful.
Right.
Having land, having home ownership and business ownership. And we don't have that. You have in the real estate market that really just really, kept us out in the cold, literally, whether it was loaning us money, keeping us out of certain neighborhoods, or undervaluing our homes. But then let the white people come in and buy those homes and mark them up. So it was, and they're still doing this today.
Oh, yeah.
Redlining and all this stuff, loans, Wells Fargo getting sued, gentrification. It's the same damn thing. It hasn't changed, but that's the value. That's how important land is, because they don't want us to have it. So when I tell people about wealth and inequality,
and see, you gotta think, and see, Kanye, he got him a couple thousand acres in Wyoming or somewhere. Bill Gates, like, you gotta pay attention. He got like hundreds of thousands. He bought up half the state in places that nobody even thinks of, and it's like, what's that about?
Land. Because money is going to become, we're already seeing people move to the point where we're not even, like, they're not even taking cash. It's all paperless.
I did a post about three or 4 years ago. I went to Tiff Treats.
Oh, I love Tiff Treats.
Yeah, Tiff Treats is good. But they said something, we're a cashless something. But whatever they call it, this is a cashless place of business, whatever. I took a picture of it. I got this for you. I said, this is the beginning of the end. I'm like, here it comes. And because once they can do, it's a different level of control they can have on you when they have not just control of your money. They have control of your money, but even how you access it.
Yeah.
I got so many thoughts in my head right now. I ain't gonna have time to get
to that's revelations.
See, I wasn't gonna go there. That's what I was about.
That is
I'm like,
it's foresight, you know what I'm saying, of thinking of like,
and that's when I say the beginning of the end. A lot of people don't be thinking about what I'm like.
No, it's very deep. They stopped making I think they stopped making the penny. So the penny has value in many ways, right? It's tender, it's penny, but it's copper. And a lot of times
they stopped making it out of copper a while ago, right?
I'm not sure if they stopped making it I just know they stopped making it, generating it.
I think like 10 years ago, it has been something. They said they stopped. It was, I think, either the penny and the nickel, because both of them are, they have value to them. But it was like, it cost us more to
make it
than what is actually, it's worth more than what it's worth, if that makes sense. But yeah, okay. So in addition to that, this is another thought of mine that I have. Let me get on my my spiritual soapbox for a second, since you mentioned it. We often, I we were often told growing up, the world is going to come to an end because man's wickedness and sinful ways and blah blah blah. And you hear a lot of people, a lot of preachers, they blame it on gay people, and they blame it on the fornicators, and they blame it on people just not obeying God.
Mm-hmm.
As I've started to look at things now, I can see how things are going to come about. It wasn't what people thought it was going to be, with the, you know, your sexual immorality and this is going to cause, but it is, especially starting from the top down, in our inability to push back against it. You look at how we're wasteful. You look at the plastic and the different, we're cutting down trees. We got plastic all in the ocean. We're not replenishing stuff. The way that the way that we use energy and burning up the holes in the ozone. And I don't know if nobody felt like this was a real hot summer, like extremely hot. I'm like, this is unusually hot, even for
it's unusually hot. We didn't really have, to me, I don't think we really had a spring. Like
Texas, we never have a spring in Texas.
Yeah, so you know, we have somewhat, like the rain of spring was not like they were saying at one point, and this is recently, they said Texas is so dry that if they have a big thunderstorm, because the land is so dry, it'll cause flooding because it can't absorb.
That's what happened. That is exactly what happened.
The flooding, you know,
Austin is flooded, right? It's flooded in places right now because it was so dry all year, and it rained really hard either yesterday or the day before yesterday, and it was just flooding everywhere. And yeah, that's exactly what. So anyway, what I was saying is, it comes from the greed of man to where we're not even taking care of the earth. As long as we can get the buck, the people on top, long as they can make the money off of it, and long as us on the bottom, as long as we can get whatever it is convenient, we all complied with it. And in the process, we are destroying the earth. So then when, I don't know how hot it get, but hey, if it gets hot enough and then start sparking fires up all over, then it is going to look like Revelations. I can see these things happening. It did because it was because of our, what the Bible will say, wickedness, but our us only thinking about ourselves.
Oh God, yes.
We're not thinking about the generations that's coming after us. We're not thinking about the value of the earth. We consume things that we don't even, the way we consume food and the way we're just in the Matrix. Agent Smith called us a virus. That's what he called us in the
and
first.
It is.
And it's like,
and that's why the viruses have ran rampant, because we are out of control, and what causes that. And if we're out of control, these are going to be out of, it's a reaction to those things. And you see how France and all these, you know, European countries are having the hottest summer on record and having fires. London having hot record. Like a lot of people in London don't even have air. They never needed it.
Right.
And there was people dying, whether they were dying from heat or they were dying because they were jumping off into the rivers and couldn't swim, or the currents were too strong for them to even do that. And then you look at people like in even Washington State. I will never forget when somebody said in Seattle and a lot of those states up there, they don't have air. They don't need it. And so it's pretty much comfortable year round, and they're getting, you know, high temperatures. Look at Texas. It had 100 and you guys were like 100.
It was hot every day. It was like 114, 100. Feel like this is hot.
Long stretches of it too. It wasn't like just a one-off. It was long stretches of
this whole summer, because usually I be trying to make my kids go outside, and I'm like, come on, y'all get out here. We're gonna do this. I'm trying to teach them how to play tennis. We ain't play no tennis this summer. We ain't go out nowhere. Only place we went was to the pool. That's the only place we went all summer.
You would have passed out. And so it's literally,
I still get out there. I'm a gangster with mine though. But
oh man, listen, I played tennis.
I ain't taking my kids out there.
I played tennis one time in Georgia. I was playing for a long time, and I didn't even know I was having that heat exhaustion. And so I walked back to the house because it was a tennis court in the subdivision, and I started just blacking out.
Yep.
And I was gone. And then, somebody had to, were cooling me down. All I know is I was waking up and they were trying to cool me down and stuff. And I didn't even know what it was. And they was like, you were almost hot to touch, just almost like you were warm. So that could have led to the heat stroke. I never had an experience like that in my life. That is scary as hell.
Yeah, I had that happen twice in my life. Once I was running track. It's my last year track. I was running for the Dominators, and we was at Milliken. And I don't know, we was doing some sprints. It was in the summertime. Well, I was Staley Striders from the time I was like 6 all the way up to 17. And then me and Coach Harback had a little falling out, and I was pretty much done running track. But then Bobby Jokes hit me up like, "Yo, I'm just starting in Dominators. They're doing very well now, but this was their first year in existence, and I was on the inaugural team. So
okay,
yeah, we was out there getting
proud.
Yeah, so and but I overdid it, and I felt it, and I walked like somehow I got myself into the gym, like the basketball gym in Milligan, and it's like my vision started going white. I couldn't see. I was like, oh shoot, I'm ready to get. So I had to get out the sun. I got out the sun, and I was laying down like in the middle of the hallway. And as long as I kept my head down, I felt all right. And the moment I tried to bring my head up, then all my vision just went white again. And I just felt myself getting weak. And I was like, shoot, well, I got to stay down here for a while. So I stayed down there for about an hour. And then I found a way to get myself home. But I was messed up for the rest of the day. And that happened one other time with me later on in my 20s. I'm trying to work out with a football friend of mine, and he about killed me too.
Yeah, the NFL and high school boys, football teams, they had to switch their schedules around because a lot of times they would practice, and they usually practice in the morning and the evening, but it became so hot.
Right.
They had to even go even earlier and later in the day just to work out. And it's like, that didn't used to be like that.
Okay. We only got about a few minutes left. Well, let me give 5-10 minutes, but I got some ratchet thoughts that I need to get out of my head, and I might as well upset some people. So, I'm not ratchet on myself, just my train of thought. You know what I'm saying. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm gonna say this. I hear some of the men, women comments, and which one am I gonna ask first? Okay, 2 things. Let's go to the men, women thing. Because there was a post. I really liked the post. And this is what prompted the thought. I know you ain't got time to read all that, but
go
it's
ahead.
basically talking about, it's okay to be independent, strong, you getting it how you get it. But at the same time, it's also okay to admit that you want and you need a man. And I know the word need comes off as strong, but like the sentiment of saying I don't prefer to be by myself all the time. I do want to be with someone. Let me stop acting like I'm so hard to where I don't need anyone. And I mean, this applies for me. This applies for men and women. It always confuses me when people, it's like a false bravado to me. People try to take that mind. I don't need nobody. I'm like,
we weren't created to be an island to ourselves.
Right.
That idea that we should be able to do it all on our own is not how we were created.
And just because you can don't mean that's the most fulfilling way to live your life.
I mean,
like if you want to be technically you can be by yourself and you can live. Yes, that's fine. And there's a certain portion of people who prefer to live that way, and that's fine as well. But if you're not that person, then don't lie to yourself and try to make yourself that.
Or you basically using that as a cover because you haven't worked on yourself to be able to obtain, someone in your life. A lot of times it's that cover to say, well, this is a scapegoat, so I don't have to work on me, or I don't need anybody. Yeah, you do. And by you saying that, there's some things that you should probably work
Right.
on, because you're not obtaining the people that you need in your life, or you're pushing those type of people away. And I think that's more of a scapegoat that people use. I think it's actually weak. It's weak to say.
Yes. Okay.
So
I
that's
have to
my
agree.
thing.
Okay, so let me give you my unpopular thought. This sparked the unpopular thought. I think most of y'all waited too late. And when I say too late, not too late, but there's a time in a season, like, especially because this is what I hear, and I moderate a singles group too, so I hear this stuff a lot. Well, it ain't no good men out there. All the men out there is either doing this or they doing this, or they on a down low, or they ain't worth this, or they ain't about nothing, or they ain't interested, or they don't know how to treat a lady, or whatever the case is. It's hard to find a good man. And just thinking about it, I'm like, y'all waited too late. Y'all waited, like, the good men I was out there. And this was my sister in the coming out of college, early 20s. That was the relationship material type people. They wanted to be in relationships,
and they probably
were looking exactly. But they took they had the mindset and they invested in somebody early.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of these people, men and women, who looking, it's hard to find a good woman, this and that. Y'all was partying. Y'all was out there partying all through your 20s, and that was an investment period. Like, it's time for you. It was a time for you to invest in a relationship. And now you wonder, when you get to your mid 30s and 40s, why it's hard to find somebody. And even when you find them, they don't seem like they committed. Y'all, there's been no period of investment. A lot of people who married and they stay married now is because they invested so much time and energy and experiences together.
Yeah,
I got tenure, right? We got history.
Yeah, we got history.
But you think you're gonna meet somebody at 40 and they're gonna be loyal to you as somebody who's been married for 20? And they already set in their ways. In a moment you do something else, I ain't got time for this.
See, that's the thing. I think a lot of people get comfortable being alone.
Yes.
And that becomes a crutch for them, because then it's always something they can go back to too easy, as opposed to trying to make things work. Because my thing is, no one's perfect, and a lot of people are looking for this perfect person. It's not going to happen. And you got to be, reality starts to set in when you get older. It's like, okay, well, maybe I was a little too tough on what I was wanting from somebody, or what I was thinking that I need from somebody. And so I try to tell people, if somebody loves you, like at your worst, you better stick around with them, because we're not always good people either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we all, why do we think we're the prize so much? You're not the prize that you think you are. So somebody that really wants you and want to be with you, or is actually trying to make an effort, you should take notice, and not just because that doesn't check something off in your list. I'm a relationship girl. I like to be in relationships. I love love. I need love. And I reciprocate love, and that's to me important. I think a lot of times people think that finding love is not important. They're like, oh, I think my career is important, or this is more important, and it's like, you guys don't start valuing it till you start becoming in those ages where you're not going to be out as much.
You're gonna be in that nursing home in a little while.
In the nursing home alone, baby.
Right, there it is.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we as a society have not placed, we really lowered our standards on love and how important it is.
Yes.
Like, that is, to me, like
the value of it. It has value. Don't devalue love. Yes.
Yeah, no one value love anymore. Like, it's like, oh, it's an afterthought. I don't need love. Yeah, Yeah, you do. You guys would be a lot happier if you did have it. Maybe we have less issues if
But
you
I
guys.
think there's, like you said, well, I kind of said that false bravado. I think people kind of putting on the front because since they don't know how to obtain it or they question if they ever will obtain it, then it sounds easier to say, this is my choice. I choose to be alone. I want to be alone.
Mhm.
And it's okay. It's okay
It's a
to
protection
operate
mechanism.
alone, but it's also okay to acknowledge, no, that yeah, I am alone right now, but I want somebody. I want to find the right person for me.
And
And
people don't want to do the work. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's difficult to not, to get out there and put your be vulnerable and open and be able
right,
to accept somebody who they are as well. That's like that's difficult. And so
right,
people don't want to do the work no more. Like it's not,
right,
if you look at these people that've been in relationship 10, 15 years, they're not gonna say it was a cakewalk. It's work. Like it's work. And so, but they put the time in to make it work. And I think no one wants to do that
I
anymore.
realized that, like I said, when I had my divorce and I went through my single phase, I realized pretty quickly you got to get back in another relationship. Because one thing I did not want to happen, I did not want me to get comfortable living that single type of lifestyle. Because I can tell if I get too comfortable living this single type of life, then I will be damaged goods later on, and it'll be and, and trust me, I have friends. I know some friends that were married and divorced, and I mean, I question how good of a relationship, but I think that, in my opinion, I just think they've been single for too long. And after you've lived a single life, sometimes it's hard to come back from that. And you may even want it in theory, but in habit and practice, it can be real hard for you because you ain't partnered with somebody in so long, and you got so used to doing things the way that you want to and moving how you want to move. It can become really difficult.
And again, it's self-reflection. A lot of times people are single or haven't got back in a relationship because they haven't healed from whatever
Right.
relationship that they feel like damaged them to the point where they don't even want to try with somebody else or don't,
Right.
any little thing now, it reminds them of this individual or this situation they run far, far away from. And it's like, everybody's not the same. Don't put everybody in that same basket. And so they haven't really healed. It's a lot of healing that I think
Right.
as women, we have not done. Like we get cheated on one time with one guy back in you're 22 and stuff, and then you carry that weight of it forever. So now every man you look at, you're like, if he doesn't answer the phone.
Oh, okay. You give me a segue into my last unpopular ratchet thought.
Okay.
And this is pretty bad. Mama, don't listen to this part of this. So, and I hear that, and I hear it oozing out of a lot of people's mouth, men and women, more so expressed by women, but it's an underlying thing for men because they don't want to be open about they've been cheated on or they've been mishandled. Women are more open about that. Men don't like to admit it.
Mm-hmm.
But before I say this, let me ask you a question first. Do you think I hear some people, in my opinion, put way too much stock in infidelity. Like that's the end all be all. If it happens, this person is the scum of the earth, not only now, but forever. They will always be a dog, terrible. It's the most egregious act you can do towards somebody in a relationship, and you can never bounce back from it. And I see people who are devastated by it permanently, and they base the I don't know how to say it, like how valid their relationship is on just that sole thing. Are we monogamous or we not? Have I ever stepped out? Have he ever stepped out? If we haven't, like, okay, so I say it like this. I've seen people who so devastated because one person stepped out, but I'm like, but you wasn't putting in no work at the same time either. Like, I'm not excusing them, but at the same time, if you ain't sleeping with them, if you ain't sleeping with her, if you guys are not communicating on what your needs are, if you always blaming her for doing something that she wasn't doing, like when it happens, how are you created an environment that led to some bad behavior eventually happening. Not to blame one person over the other, but I'm saying you wasn't monitoring the effectiveness of your relationship. So then you act like you devastated when that happens. But I'm like, y'all been in trouble for a while though. You ain't see that?
I was say that a lot of times infidelity doesn't come out of thin air. It's usually some failure in communication. And then also you have to find it. So there's different partners that have different sex tolerance, sex levels, sex desires. And a lot of times we think we can handle that in the beginning. Oh yeah, I'm a sex fiend, I can do this. And this person really is a sex fiend. They need it all the time. Are you sure you're able to meet that type of demand?
Right.
Maybe you need to find somebody that's more compatible sexually. So we don't value sex of importance in a relationship, especially in the beginning, because we're too busy saying, oh, I'm not going to have sex with this person. I want to get to know them first. Know what their sex level is in the beginning. That way you can understand if this is somebody you should be even having a relationship with. Because a lot of times men or women step out because they're not getting satisfied, because you guys didn't have a discussion about sex. Like, what's your turn-ons? What's your turn-off? If I want anal and this person doesn't give me anal, I'm gonna probably go out and get anal from somebody else. So let's not be oh goody here and not, I don't want to talk about that or uncomfortable with that. You need to have those conversations early. And then as far as infidelity, we put a lot of emphasis on infidelity where there's all kind of levels of disrespect that goes on in relationships that we just don't care or dismiss. So if a man puts his hands on it, y'all okay with that? If he pushes and shoves you, okay with that? But if he cheats on you, it's a problem. Like, so why is this not to the same?
Let me give you my bad thought. This is my bad thought, and tell me what you think about this. Like you said, so for me, this is a thought that came across my head. People who, in my opinion, put overemphasis on infidelity, in my opinion, it makes me wonder. I think you might just be trash in bed. Probably. And let me say this. No. And let me
meet that person's.
Let me clarify. No. Let me clarify. Not that they cheated on you because you was trash in bed, but the fact that you get so upset by it makes me think that you're trash in bed. Let me give you so if I get cheated on, I'm not going to internalize it. I'm not going to look at it like it's the end of the world, because I'm pretty good. I ain't bad. And so somebody stepping out on me would not break my confidence in a way where I felt like it was me. How could you do this to me? Why would you do this to me? What is it that I did? What is it that it ain't nothing. You might have just wanted to get your rocks off, but it wasn't because I can't put it down. So in my opinion, I think people who know what they got and they know what they can bring to the table, you don't internalize it like it's something that you did. You look at it like, well, that's the you problem. That's the you problem that you need to get. So it just made me wonder. I'm like, all these people, men and women, who just internalize it so much. I'm like, you must be trash in bed.
Probably a lot of it. That's probably why they went out and cheat. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, again, it should be conversations. I don't think it's anything wrong with having conversations about sex. Hey, I like to have sex. I like nasty sex. I like you to talk to me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't, just like, we have to get off of just this one-dimensional dating.
Right.
What do you have? How much money this person has? How much education this person has? How do they look? How are they in bed? Can they cook? You know, so or do you
Yes.
wash your ass every day? Like, you know what I'm
So
saying?
important.
Like,
It's very important.
you know what I'm saying? You'd be surprised. Like, you
I know, and I think because I saw, I don't know if it was Crystal or somebody, but they put some post on there with this. Somebody was trying to say it's not necessary to shower every day or something. Like who?
and
What
people
in
really
the?
do go for that.
I'm like
Oh,
who? It's just like, see, that's why I can't mess with half y'all people out here because
I don't want
people
that.
who got that mindset is. But let me say this too, really quick. Let me say this. I also. Men and women, men need to be honest, and women need to also ask questions and be observant. Your sexual frequency may or may not be the same in a relationship as it is when you single. So
I think
just
that's a front.
because
Nope. I don't believe that. I
okay,
believe
go ahead.
that's a front. I think women they want this guy so much, so I'm gonna do everything to catch him. But that is not their sex drive. That's not their sex drive. They normally wouldn't
Okay.
do that. They know a lot of times people put this persona out there in the beginning to say, "Oh, I'm this,
True.
that,"
I
and
see
then
what
when you
you're
get in a
saying.
relationship, the mask comes off. I believe because if you a freak, you're gonna be a freak regardless.
Let me say on the man side, and this is what I know for a lot. Just because a man has a sexual appetite single, that doesn't mean that's going to be the same sexual appetite he has in a relationship. So, for example, most men, not all, but most, a lot, over 50%. Let me say that. If they could sleep with a different woman every day of the week, like I don't know if you saw the state property, he just named them by days. This was Monday, this Tuesday, was Wednesday. If you had a different rotation, just go Monday through Friday,
Right.
5-woman rotation, you got a different woman Monday through Friday. Most men, they can do that. They got an appetite for that. Having sex with the same woman every day over and over, that don't mean that they're going to have that same type of appetite. So you got to be careful. It's just like, and I use this example a lot. I love pizza. Pizza is my favorite. It is. But it's my favorite when I put it in between pizza on Friday, burger on Saturday, fish on Thursday, tacos on Tuesday, this and this and that. If I ate pizza every single day, I wouldn't have the same appetite for it. So I think so. I'm just saying sometimes men be tricking women and sometimes they be lying to themselves. Just because you have a certain sex drive, that doesn't, everybody don't have the same sex drive when it's in a monogamous relationship.
Yeah,
What
you could say everybody don't have the same sexual desires. Like I might have a high sexual drive, but I mean that with multiple people or having to be able to have something new. Some people just like new toys. Like I like, there's stuff that I like to go shopping. I like new shit. I don't even need it. I like it. It's impulsive. It's something wired in the brain. Sometimes people say polygamy and monogamous, like we're not built to be monogamous. And we are forcing ourselves to be monogamous. And I'd be like, okay, well, what do we do then? if that's the case. And so it's like, this is why you got to have these discussions, because there's a lot of people that are okay with it. There's people that's okay.
You know what? With people, dang, if I wanted to go, they should have I'm sure they do, but it should be like a norm that people in relationships are looking to get married go to a sex therapist.
Yes.
And that sex therapist job is to pull every desire, every nasty thought, your frequencies, your likes, your dislikes, your expectations.
Yeah.
In the future, like what do you want now versus what you may be willing to graduate into later on. All of these things, like I would do so. You need a sex therapist because it's an uncomfortable thing for people to ask the question to their partner a lot of times, but you need somebody who can pull that out.
Because it's we
right.
With when it comes to sex, it's so it's taboo.
And also when you pull it out, some things you pull out the box, you can't put back in the box once you pulled it out the box.
You just told me, this man told me I like men. I'd be like, whoa. Now, and see, people, that's where people become scared to tell their,
Yes, exactly.
because they scared on how they react, or they may not get that person. Oh, that person's
Mhm.
not going to want to be with me if they knew this
Right.
or that.
And
So
it's like you can't put it back in it. So it's like, and now the other person is looking like, okay, so if I'm not down with this, is this going to be a
deal
ongoing
breaker.
desire that you have that you're going to end up finding a way to do without me knowing, since you know I'm not down? And if it's done improperly, it can create distrust with
There is
the
plenty of people, I believe, more people bisexual than they want to tell people, and or trisexual, want to try
right.
something,
You want to try something, yeah.
or want to have multiple partners or open relationships, but they're
Right.
scared if they say that,
Yes.
that person will stigma. I got stigma.
Right.
Now you're taboo.
We did an episode about this too. I don't know if we did a full episode about it, but
We
I
might even
even
revisit
proposed
that.
it. I proposed it like, okay, so what if the person comes to their partner and be like, yo, I think I want to do a threesome. Like, what do you think? And then some of the people on the group were like, oh, well then fuck it, then that mean I ain't for you, then just buy it. I was like, hold on. they trying to open up and have a conversation, and it's just automatically, well, obviously
Shut
I'm
'em
not
down.
what you want, then buy. I was like,
And see, that's what we told our.
I'm like, so how do you expect a person to tell you the truth and be open and honest and communicate? I remember this was on one of my single shows, because I just need you to be straight up, be 100 with me. Tell me
No, they
tell
don't.
me
They don't
what
want the 100.
And I'm like, so what if somebody tell you that they may be fantasizing about this? Well, then that just mean I ain't what you want. So then you go find them and be happy.
No, they may want you. They want you, but they also want to do some other experiences,
Right.
either with you or without you. That doesn't mean they want you.
But even based off of your response, how do you expect anybody to be open, honest, and communicate with you when your response is, well, then bye, nigga?
Right.
Like,
you totally shut down.
Right.
And this is what we teach. We as parents shouldn't do to our kids. When our kids
Right.
come and talk to us,
Mhm.
we shouldn't automatically go into parent mode and I'm disciplining you, disciplining.
Right.
They're not going to come and tell you anything else.
Right.
And then that becomes a problem when you want to have that dialogue
Right.
open. That communication line should be open. Somebody should
Yeah.
feel freely and not be judged and looked over at every single time. Now, oh, he said he wanted to have a threesome. Is he looking at that bitch over there? You know what I'm saying? Like it becomes toxic. It's just like, I just asked. I didn't say I wanted to do it. I just
Right.
seeing checking the temperature.
And that's the crazy, because there's certain things that I may want to try. I'm talking about trisexual, but I've never done it before.
Right.
And who's to say once I do it, I might be like, nah, that ain't for me. But
And a
just
lot of
the
people
mere
do that.
thought or mention of it, yeah, a lot of people, there's things like, I thought that, oh yeah, I tried it, but it was.
I had a good friend that wanted to try what it would be like with a woman. They did it. They didn't like it.
Right.
It's not like something that they're now they're into women just because they had an experience. No, they just wanted to.
You tried it. Yeah, you tried it.
Not for you. So okay, move on.
But then the labels come. Oh, you know how she get it. It's like you can't live down the label just for trying something.
No, because now you're always tainted
Right.
with that title of this whatever you want it to be, and it's like, are we adults? Are we kids?
Kids.
You know what I'm saying? Like we still have that mentality of kids and bullying and look at this person, they're this, instead of saying, okay, we're adults and we should be able to have life experiences that develop and create or whatever it does for our enhancement of our lives. Like,
but
today,
I think that
today.
I think that comes from a level of
maturity, true maturity,
maturity, but also security.
Oh,
like your desires, your fantasies. If I'm not the picture of your desired fantasy, that don't take away from me. Just mean you got a fantasy. And I think a lot of people, like I said, it's that goes back to my analogy of, if I get cheated on, I'm not looking at it like, that's something that you got to do. That's something that you got to deal with. But I don't look at it like, I don't internalize it like it was something wrong with me. No, that is what it was. But I don't know. Some people who just internalize, it just make me wonder. I'm like, you must be trash.
They obsess about it. it becomes a obsession. Well, what, why, how, why would they it's like sometimes things just happen and it doesn't, it's no
Right.
rhyme or reason to it. Like you're reading it too deeply.
And maybe I don't even have to use the sex component of it, which that's what made me think about. But even relationally, when every time, like when a relationship breaks down and you find people still harping on the same ended relationship like 10 years later, it's like, yo, that's over. Look ahead. Let's just stop looking back. But it's like,
they get trapped in the replay. Like it's constantly, it becomes obsession. And it's a sickness because they get trapped in replaying that same thing over and over in their mind. They can never move forward because they always revert back to it. And that's the biggest thing where you need to heal from. And maybe you need to seek some help or someone to talk to about how to move forward, because there's things in your life, not just in relationships, jobs that may fire you, loved ones that may pass, and you have to be able to understand how to move forward. And a lot of times people don't know how to do that. They don't have the tools to do that. One thing I have to say with just American medicine, we are all about prescription medicine and not really giving us good foundation.
Masking the symptoms.
Yeah. So it's not solving anything.
Ain't doing nothing.
So we have a society that's only prescribed to dull the pain and never get through the pain to be able to live without the prescription.
I said this one time, it was a while ago. I used to be a lab rat. I would do clinical research studies and stuff like that for a long time. That was like 10 years. That was my living for like 10 years. But anyway, it was funny because it was one study I was doing, and it was like antidepressant meds. Now, when you're doing a study, you can't deal with any of that stuff, or otherwise they wouldn't let you do the study. Right. But they didn't know I was actually depressed at that time. But I wasn't gonna tell them I'm trying to get this money. I'm like, even it might help me anyway. On top of that, so anyway, this study was long too. I was probably over the course of 3 months, I had to take an antidepressant every single day while I was going through this depressing situation. I really was, and I realized, I'm like, this stuff don't do nothing. All it does is it reminded me of, I don't know if you remember, Cat Williams did a stand-up talking about his child. And they talk about they end up putting him on Ritalin.
Oh yeah.
Like he's running around. He's like, he's just sitting there not moving, and he's like, let me go check. He said, "What you thinking about, son?" He said, "Running." And he was like, "Well, then you go." But it's like your thoughts and your feelings don't change, but you just don't respond.
Yeah, it dulls your sense.
So yeah, I'm sad, but I'm not gonna cry. I'm sad, but my face gonna look exactly how I'm looking. Like the symptoms, the outer everything, but on the inside you feel exactly the same way. It don't actually fix anything. It just masks the symptoms.
Yeah. And they actually released a new study saying that lower levels of serotonin is not the leading cause for depression. And they just admit that you've been just prescribing people. They said, well, it still works. But we just want to let you know that what we said depression is caused by is truly not. And this is a medicine. This is right. The future of medicine, that we're going to start discovering a lot of things. A lot of this is just based off of capitalism.
Right.
They ain't trying to heal nobody.
It was a guy, I took this to heart. It was a guy who used to attend the meetings. Actually, he was a Mason, but he don't do no social media stuff at all. But he's like, the original computer is your brain. That's the original computer. And just like a computer, whatever you're dealing with, going through, you can reprogram your mind to respond the way that you wanted to. And I always took that to heart. However I was feeling, I'm like, I need to reboot. I need to reprogram. I can reprogram, because I've had anxiety attacks. So even when people had anxiety and panic attack, I know exactly what it is because I had it.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you feel like it was one of my friends at work. Good for him. And they laid out and they getting the paramedics and this, and you feel like you about to die. I said, you having a panic attack. I say, you're gonna feel like you're about to die, but you're not. You'll be all right. And that's what it was, that's all it was. And when I say that's all it was, no, you really feel like you're gonna die if you never had a real anxiety.
So
It feel like you're having a heart attack.
I have a panic attack one time, and it was extremely crazy. Like, I felt out of control of myself. Like,
I thought I was dying. I was praying to the Lord. I'm laid across the front of my car. I just got to Austin. I don't know what I was praying, but I'm like, Lord, take me. I don't know. I thought I was it though. Like, I was everything, like I couldn't hear anymore. It's like all of my ears shut down, all of my fingertips was going numb.
I lost control.
My lips, everything. And it's like I had never felt I thought I was dying. And that happened like twice at that time. And then I've had a couple milder ones later on in life. I think probably around the time I was going through all my divorce stuff. But it wasn't, it's one of those things to when I knew what it was, then I knew how to deal with it. As long as I tell myself, you know what it is, you know the process.
Right. Now you have the knowledge and the tools and the resources to be able to massage or alleviate some of that, the big outcome of what a real, a full-blown panic attack is.
Right.
We're not treating people to help themselves. We're only saying, hey, take this, this is help you. And now you're on this for however, because it's capitalism. It's all about money. It's not really about curing or helping anyone. So it's like,
and when I tell people to work on their mind, work on their mental, work on controlling their thought, then people think that you're being insensitive, and it's like, oh, you don't know what I'm going through. I'm like, no, I do know, and I've been there, and it's and one thing doesn't necessarily work for all people, but that's one of those things, like,
good foundation.
You do have the ability to control certain things more than you think you do.
Yeah, and my thing is, we don't, like, I think this is again, we need to teach these kids this early on. Right. Because I told somebody, I was like, most kids, when they hit puberty, it's so much that's going on in their body that they don't even know how to handle that stuff. It's wild.
Yeah.
All kind of things firing at the same time because you're in a growth period. And I said, it's good to go and have them talk to a counselor at that time, that stage, to, help them deal with these things, either really prior to dealing, actually going through it. And I said, we only work on things when it becomes out of whack instead of being preventive. Imagine if we would have been in school, we have meditation, mindfulness. You know what I mean? How, yoga or some practices to be able to center ourselves and focus and be able to, deal with certain things. How powerful we could be. But see, we don't do that until it's out of whack. Then they're trying to teach you how to do mindfulness. Now I can't think because everything's scatterbrained. So what are you telling me about mindfulness now?
I tell a lot of my friends, like, you have to invest in your friendships consistently and early. Like, you want to make sure you got a couple people that you give a day-to-day checkup on, and not even that you speak to them every day, but at least once, twice a week. Let them know what's going on with you day to day, so at the end of the week they're up to speed with you, so they also know your mannerisms, they know your tendencies, and when you're going through something, you have somebody that you can pull from. See, because sometimes when you and people in relationships, I think women do this worse than men, but both of them do, get in relationship, then you isolate from the rest of your friends.
Oh God, yeah.
And you don't tell nobody nothing, this and this and that. And then what happens is, even if y'all break up or y'all don't break up, something happens, go through, they're not up to speed with your day-to-day life. So even when your friend reach out to you, be like, hey girl, what's wrong? This and this and that. Just to let them know what's wrong with you now, you'd have to give them another 8 months of a backstory just so they can know what's up, And so then
you unload on them, and it's difficult for them to.
But even in most situations, and I don't know how women do this as much, but even men, they're not gonna give you 8 months to bring you. They'd be like, it's just nothing, man. There's a bunch of But what happens is, since you hadn't had anybody incorporated with your day-to-day life, they can't just jump right in and know where you at. Now, if you have a couple of friends that you actually share with, and you invest your story, your energy, your goals, dreams, all of that, feelings, emotions, all of that stuff, when you're going through, oh man, what's going on? So you remember such and such, and you can leave right where you left off, and they know what's going on because they're already a part of your story.
Yeah.
And they can help pull you through the situation a lot faster. But then if you don't do that, if you don't invest your story into somebody else when you need somebody to pull from it, they don't know how to help you.
No.
There's been too much space.
And I caution people about dumping too much on a person because it's a lot for them to take all in. So you have somebody dumping all this on you, and it's like, whoa, like you didn't tell me this was going on. And so I can't only absorb so much because I don't want that to be so heavy on my mind.
Right.
You know, because a lot of times, and then you got to make sure people are okay with absorbing that. Because a lot of people is not the proper time to just be over here so hard out on folks.
Or the proper person. Everybody ain't meant to be able to deal with it.
You gotta have that one friend that you know, like, okay, I can talk to her about anything.
Right.
But this friend, I love her to death. That's my homie, but she can't handle that type of conversation.
Right.
So,
no, that's 100%.
You know,
but okay. Well, Denise, you got any last words before we close out?
Hi, Denise. We missed you. I love you.
Yes.
You time to time on Facebook, but you look gorgeous.
You look gorgeous. Y'all look gorgeous. I miss y'all so much. Y'all don't understand. I had to take a mental health break.
That's okay.
That's why I haven't been around, because I've been going too much. And the point that you're saying about like checking in before you start blurting it all out. Like, are you in a space to receive all this junk that I'm about to throw at you? Okay, if not, let me just hold this to myself. Let me ask you how you're feeling, how you're doing. Like, so I'm on this boundary setting mission right now because I realized that a lot of my self-love or lack of self-love was wrapped in like not having real clear boundaries. You know, I've been going through some stuff. But I've been learning to set boundaries. And I feel like it's the best thing that I've ever done to my mental health was set boundaries.
Right.
That's what I got for that. I wish I would have joined in earlier. Maybe we could do a part 2.
No, that's good. Boundaries, definitely set boundaries, and ask yourself, what are your principles? I'm telling principles will help you so much. Like,
get into it.
You don't, when you set principles for yourself and you set boundaries, it makes your decision-making process so much easier.
Get into principles though. What do you mean by principles? Like, give us an example.
What is a principle that
you live by?
Oh, okay. Okay. This is super simple. Someone says, I don't get involved with married people. Mm-hmm. That's the super simple one. So you don't even have to worry about going down a certain road or getting entangled in something that you've already set the person. No, that's just something I don't even go down. So you don't even dabble in a certain thing or allow yourself to go into it. It makes your decision-making process easy. Mm-hmm. If you already have certain, principles. Well, I'm not gonna do hallucinogens. You don't have to. It eliminates all peer pressures. Or I don't partake in any substance in a public setting to where I'm not aware of my surroundings.
Yeah.
That can just be awful. So certain things it becomes easy to make decisions because you've already set boundaries and principles in place to where I don't cross these lines, or even, from a theory perspective, I don't do this. I don't. So it makes your life so much more easy, and it makes your mind clearer on what it is that you want to do.
Let me push back on one of those. So principles is definitely something that you have to have, that, core values that this is me, this is how I'm going to operate. There is people that will kind of, bring you in, and you don't even realize you are breaking principles that you normally. So like, for instance, if somebody doesn't tell you they're married and now you're already involved, How do you, as a principal person,
in there already.
Now that you caught up, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of times what we struggle as how we protect those principles and boundaries is because so many people break our boundary, come into our boundaries. You know what I'm saying? And how do we handle that then? So Denise may say, I got boundaries. Don't contact me after 9 p.m. And then somebody contacts her at 9 p.m., but it's important. Then it's like, dang, I got to go against my boundary because, oh, this is a particular person that I need to talk to about whatever. Say it's a gig. And I'm like, damn, I'm messing with my boundaries. And so those things.
Okay, so like if I got a principle to where I don't, and that's borderline one for me. Like I don't do late night calls, anything, because if it's going to be some bad news, it's going to be an argument. I find out somebody died. I want to at least get one good night of sleep in before I find out something crazy or before it mess with me. So if that's a principle for me, you have a hard time I'm not even answering my phone. Like I'm not answering my phone. I'm not looking at my phone. If the phone ring, I do not even answer my phone.
I would think in the case of the late night call, right? I think, and this could be applied, I feel like, to all boundaries. If a person usually respects your boundaries, and in this particular place, they're like maybe crossing the line of the boundary, and it's for a good reason because they've always respected it, I think that in that particular case, you're kind of like, oh, okay. True. This person doesn't call me late. What's going on? Like they know that I go to sleep at this time and not to bother me. This is a really, really huge gig and they need to answer now. I have to interrupt you in your whatever it is that you got going on. So I think it just depends. Think
about what I said as far as my principle. Yeah. Whatever it is, I want to at least sleep peacefully tonight. So even if it is an emergency, I don't even want to know until the morning time. Because
I want kids, like, well, I know your kids are home.
That's one thing that I would probably have to. And then and people know, like, okay, if I call him twice in a row, then he'll know it's important, then he'll pick up. But outside of that, I'm not answering my phone. And it's not a right or wrong. It's I want to sleep peacefully tonight. And the chance of there being some messed up stuff on the other side of this line, I prefer to find out in the morning.
True.
That's just me. Principle. And I don't do that. Can we talk? No, not at the 9 o'clock. Nope.
You're for real.
Oh yeah, no. I need to talk to you. Well, we'll talk in the morning. I'm not interrupting my sleep. I'm serious. That's something that I'm very serious about, because if it's really bad or it's an issue or then I'm gonna be up for the rest of the night. I'm not gonna be at peace. I'm not gonna sleep well. I'm like, and I want to. So no, we not having no. They knew that too. Like, oh, we can I talk to you? No.
I love that.
And
don't do it.
Leave sometimes leave a voicemail. Like
I'm saying with my partner, my wife or fiance, anybody in the house. No, we're not talking at this certain type of night. Oh, that's y'all ain't know that's what I'm talking about? Like, no.
I thought you talking about phone calls. You said even in the house.
Talking about the phone call. Yeah, I'm saying in the house. No, we're not having no conversation.
It's time to go to bed.
Time to go to bed.
Oh my God.
Hey, but you value your time of rest. And so that's a big thing for you. So you have a principle around it. I mean, sometimes it's even difficult just establishing those boundaries in the beginning because people don't, they may not operate the way you do. So they'd be like, well, this is difficult for me. I need to talk to you at these times because these are the only times I have available.
But okay, so let me say this again. Let me now. When I say no, we're not talking, I will go out of my way to make time to talk to you earlier the next day. Okay. And I won't even wait for you to bring it up. Okay. I'm sorry, love. You wanted to talk about something last night. What's going on? You got my undivided attention. What's up? We just ain't talking about it at the time of night. That's all. Yeah. But I will promise you, like, yo, we'll talk about it and I'll make sure you get all my attention.
Priority list first thing in the morning.
What were you saying?
The priority. Also, the priority, I need to put food on the table too. And I ain't trying to walk around like a zombie at work.
Because you want to stay up until 12
right.
at night arguing.
Man, get out.
Right. That person got to get up in the morning.
I've had them nights before. I ain't trying to do that.
Me too.
Yeah. So I mean, that's that's an example, but I don't know if it's the greatest example, but that's just.
No, that's good. You know what somebody told me? I think another thing with mental health is like changing our relationship with certain things. So like changing our relationship with saying no to someone. One of my friends told me saying no is saying yes to you. So I think when you kind of look at it like that, if you have a hard time telling people no, you say, I'm saying yes to me. Like I deserve this yes.
Oh, okay. I ain't understand what you're saying. Okay.
No, but that's true. It's power in saying no. You know what I mean?
I agree too.
Power is power in saying no. It's
Yeah.
not saying, it may not be saying no forever. It's no now. You know what I'm saying? But some people take that offense to when somebody say no. Like they can't handle no. Like it's like, how dare she say no to me? It's like, yeah, I'm choosing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree.
Me and the older I get, then it's gonna be beautiful. Me being old is beautiful because now I'll be like, nah, ain't gonna be able to do it.
I'm such a nice person, so I will admit it's difficult for me to say no a lot of times. I'm just always trying to find a way to work it or figure it out, and then I end up being overwhelmed by putting more tasks on myself. And I literally like came to this conclusion today. I was like, girl, why are you just signing yourself up for every little thing that comes your way? I know there's a lot of opportunities out there, but you don't have to take every single one of them. And that's a problem for me.
You know what I found to work with that tier is because sometimes in the moment you really think you can take it on because you done forgot about the 500 other things that you said you were going to do. So I started creating this rule where I say, give me the details. And then I say, I'll think about it. Instead of giving a yes right then and there, it's like, hold on, let me think. Because you start getting excited, they get you excited, and you like, yeah. And then you like, damn, guys.
That's so smart, Denise. I swear.
Right.
Yeah, I feel
and that's one thing. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Edward.
No, so I feel you on that, and I agree with Tiara saying. Like it's hard to say no at first, but eventually you have to. Because I know, like myself, I'm always like yes to this, yes to that, and also it comes down to the root of, I guess, like fear of disappointing people or fear of disappointing yourself in the things that you want to do versus what people want you to do. It's hard, but when you realize that you got to focus on you, then you got to realize sometimes you can't always do everything what they want you to do. You got to come down to what you want or need to do first. Put yourself first before everyone else.
Exactly.
Agreed.
So one thing that I do that I practice, two things. One thing that I do, I practice not giving an immediate response. Let me check, I ain't saying yes or no. Let me check my schedule. Let me see what my week looks like. Let me check a few things. There's a good chance I won't be able to, but let me double check before I give you any answer first. And that's even with a yes or a no. I don't give immediate answers. Because then you committed to something that you may not be able to, or maybe you didn't want to, or you didn't. I just give me, either give me a few hours, give me a day, let me check. That's number one. Number two, my other observation is when you learn how to properly say no, then it's easier to say yes when you need to say yes. You know why? Because you ain't got 20 different things on your plate from saying yes to everybody. Like you keep your time, your schedule, the way you operate, you keep that stuff clear and in order because you ain't saying yes to everything. So when somebody asks you something, you're able to, okay, yeah. Especially if it's somebody I rock with. Oh, you ain't said nothing but a word. I got you. Good. And I can do that because I don't have 10 different commitments already out there, so it's easier to say yes and be able to follow through with it. Yeah,
and like I said, that is something I'm really have to learn because I'm trying to be everything and anything, and I have to learn that I can't be everything. I can't. There's just no way for me to do something good, put out good
Right.
product or put good service or whatever. If I keep doing all this stuff, everything gets diminished. Everything is not going to be,
Right.
the best quality that I could possibly do, because I'm just trying to do it and get it done and not really, really take the time. And so, and then I usually I'll say yes and then feel guilty because I had to back out of it because now I didn't signed off on this
And
something.
see, so you sound like you probably committing to longer projects and stuff like that.
It is
See, that's when you got to be very, very careful about committing to these long projects. That's going like people
drawn
still
out,
ask me
drawn
to,
out time,
can you
right? Yeah.
do a part of my show? And I'm like, I got 3.5 shows already. I can't. Yeah, I can't commit to a long, this repetitive thing and people, from different churches. Cause I'm a jack of all trade when it comes to a lot of that stuff. I'm like, nope, can't do that. I did that at one point in my life. I ain't doing like my schedule is full right now. So can't
Yeah,
do it.
it takes from your happiness. So now
Right.
I'm not happy. I'm just trying to just check off list all day.
Woo wee.
Like I'm not happy to
Tiara,
enjoy the moment.
once you really get happy, you will do any and everything to protect that happiness. It's like I'm not gonna let you drag me back into something that's gonna stress me out. Not gonna do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. And so that's really literally I had that conversation like the last 2 days. I was like, girl, what are you doing? Why are you taking on all these your focus supposed to be this? Why aren't you, if you sit and start doing this and that and this, then you can't focus on their main goal. Like
Right.
you got goals, girl, you got vision, and so you're taking away from that. You got to
Right.
remember that you're only one person, and I think I can do everything. And I'm like, oh, I can do it though. I can do it. No, I can't. And I got to be honest with myself. And a lot of times I'm not honest with myself because I'm just like, and I probably very well could have done it, everything that but like I said, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah. At what cost? Do it at what cost? Like that's literally why I didn't do my show. I was just like, no. I literally got to the place where I usually, even if I'm exhausted, tired, I can still in my mind's eye see myself doing a fantastic job. I was so mentally exhausted that in my mind's eye, I was seeing myself on stage depleted, having nothing in me. That's never happened to me. I said, oh, I'm not doing this shit. Not me, not Denise King. Oh, I'm just no. I need to. I'm like, I put it off too long. I've just been going and going and going
Right.
and going and going to the point where I'm just like, I didn't even realize there's so many things that I've missed that I was like, oh shit, I didn't even think about this. I didn't recognize that. And then there's things that happen when you're in like a survival mode.
Right.
So you can't even think about how you feel because you're in survival mode. And then once the coast is finally clear, you're like, oh shit, what's going on with me emotionally? I'm fucked up. I need to take some time.
Right.
You know?
And survival mode requires you to have a lot of adrenaline, right? So adrenaline gives you that big rush of energy, and then once that
drain the
adrenaline
heck
is
out of
gone, you are exhausted, depleted. You are like don't want to do.
Y'all ever been in a fight before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Never get no. I slept after I got done. I slept for the rest of the day. Once all that adrenaline leave, you like everything is out of you.
Yeah, you really don't like, and that's anxiety. You build up this anxiety now with things because now you have this experience of adrenaline high and then coming the lows, and then your body is like it's in a dangerous cycle.
Right.
And so that's
Now,
where you have to.
I will say, Denise, to you, there's value in both sides of it. There is value in stretching yourself. Because I know some people who they can't stretch themselves to save their life, anything outside, and they can, it's like, dang, come on, man, just,
push yourself
a little bit. So it is value in stretching yourself for a certain period, and there's also value in knowing when to say, "Up, that's enough."
Yeah,
now it's time to pull back and reset. So it's value in both of them. It's value in both of them.
Yeah, I had stretched. Like if y'all only knew.
We see you. Shoot. Videos ain't making they self.
They sure ain't.
Hey, yo, and on top of that, the other stuff that was going on, like, yo, I didn't even know where I was gonna live. I was literally, and then in this market right now, I had to literally
Really?
go. I was working on a video, working on the screening, finishing up the song, trying to figure out where I was going to live. Had to find a new job because I could not afford to live here in the current market. Had to find a new place to live because our landlord was kicking us out. So I had to go out into the market with the new prices. So that's like $300 more in rent that I wouldn't normally have to pay. So I had to get a job just so I could get an offer, just so I can negotiate a higher pay while doing all that other stuff, plus going through a heartbreak, plus not seeing my family, plus back-to-back shows. It was just ridiculous. And then I finally like moved into my new spot, and I like the adrenaline was like this, and it was just like, you're exhausted, you're tired.
Right.
Like my body, I could go a mile right now.
Right.
But my spirit and my emotions and all my mental was like, girl, what are we doing?
Right.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Yep.
True that.
Mental health break.
Yes. And
Yeah.
it's that is good. That's like, I don't understand why people think that's such a like, a weakness. You know, that's strength.
That mentality.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Strength on steroids.
You
But I
know?
gotta make it happen. I gotta hustle. And it's hard not to be in that mindset when you're an entrepreneur.
Right.
It's hard not to be like, no, I gotta get it. You know?
That it's beneficial, just like adrenaline prepare you for a fight. For a period of time, it is beneficial, but it's not designed for you to live that way. It's not designed to be long term. You can't run off adrenaline for a long time.
No.
It's not designed for you to do that.
No.
It's almost like it's like when y'all said coming down, it's like really like, I feel like adrenaline could be, not that I've ever done crack before, but it could kind of be like a crack high. Like, you know how they say that people who are on crack are just chasing that first high that they had? I feel like when that adrenaline is running, it's like you want to be there. Because when you're there, you don't have to think. You're just in that mode and you're just going and you're gone. And you're like, anything you said you're going to do, you're just getting it done because you're just in this mode. And then when you come out of that mode, you're like, how do I get back up there? Like, how do I get back into that mode? And it's like you said, we're not designed to be there on a regular basis. And that's hard to accept, especially when you were like getting stuff done, you know?
And that becomes like the highs and lows of bipolar disorder, where people love the manic phase, but have to battle the depressive state. And as far as when it comes with adrenaline, you know what I mean? It is like crack to a degree because you become powerful. You do things that you don't normally be able to do, like not sleep, not eat, just go, go, go. There's people that have been able to pick up a car off of a kid or something because of adrenaline. But then, you know what I'm saying? After that's released, then it becomes that depressive state, just like a bipolar, the highs and lows. But those manic stages is the most creative state in a bipolar mind. When they push out, you know, you have people that have been diagnosed that are geniuses that push out that great art during their manic phase. And like Quentin said, a lot of times they were put on drugs and it subdued them. They hated it because they loved the manic stage.
Yeah.
You know, Kanye West was one of them. That manic stage was able to produce great things. And then when he had to take pills to dull that sense, you're dulling a sense that kind of is almost your superpower at that point.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's like everybody not designed to fit into the same social space. Like I think, you know, Kanye, it's okay to be a misfit. You know, don't you don't have to. All right, he want to wear the hat. He want to do whatever. Everybody
put trash bags and Gap.
Yeah,
right. Put trash, I think that's a genius move, actually.
Oh, he's sticking it to Gap. I believe it's just all like Kanye's like, you say he's not about conformity. He's going to do everything the opposite of what you think is right.
Right.
Because who told you? He has the
And he's
the
been
gall
like
about
that from the beginning.
yeah, he has the gall to say,
Mhm.
who told you this is right? You know what I'm saying? Who
Mhm.
told you it's supposed to go on hangers? Why? You know, and he really pushes the envelope on that.
So
And
when
that is
everybody
that's
was
the
wearing the
detail.
chains and the baggy jeans, and then he come out with cardigans and polo shirts, and like he's like whatever they doing, every time somebody, he's always been like that.
Yeah, because
Everybody going right, I'm gonna go left.
it
He even
works.
mentioned about want to be the next Walt. He want to be big like Walt Disney or Bill Gates and stuff. Like he want to be that big
Right.
of an influence and stuff. So and people just look at him like, really? Like why?
Ooh.
Like no, he can't. And then look what he does.
Hat. Edward, this is
Yep.
something you don't know about me. I'm a
Yeah,
Kanye
she's
fan.
huge. She's a definite
Okay.
Kanye fanatic.
Yeah. Same
She's
here.
a Kanye apologist.
Oh my
Even when I call
Oh
when
my
I
God.
call him out on his cooning behavior, she'll still take up for him.
Wow.
Cause he do some stuff. I call him out on some stuff sometimes. Even though I like Kanye, I still call him out on some of his
Yeah,
BS.
I think the world needs Kanye. I think we need plenty of
Absolutely.
Kanyes because
Absolutely.
we become so boxed in. It's refreshing to see somebody that is open-minded and is thinks outside the box with so many things, and that's what Kanye do. And he really awakens you, individuals, to say, "Oh, I can do that too. I don't have to conform just because people said this is how it's been done for all
Right.
so many years." Hey, you know, this is cool. This is
Yeah.
new. This is refreshing. So I like
Yeah.
Kanye because he just doesn't, he's in his own lane, really, really, really in his own lane.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah.
there's freedom in that too. I think that is a part of like the whole mental health journey that I'm on. Is like literally just not caring. Like just getting to a space where you don't care. And like, oh, I have a question. I'm gonna throw this one out here. I thought about this today. Like if I had to take like a pill that would make me be like somebody for a day, like which ones would I take? Like what medicines would I take? I would take the Solange pill, I would take the Erica pill, and I would take the Kanye pill.
Erica Badu?
Yes.
Oh,
They all don't
yeah.
give a fuck.
Yeah, she definitely one of my favorites.
Erica with the green
Yeah.
juice.
Yeah,
What pills would y'all take?
She put that
I
voodoo
was-
on the DOC
she one of
and
my
Andre 3000.
favorites. Now,
I
see,
have-
Erica
Look what she did with
is
Andre
my
3000.
all-time favorite. I'm an Erica apologist. She can do no wrong in my eyes.
Look how Andre 3000 of Outkast changed after she got with Erica. Like look how he was before and look at him after, especially with his fashion and the way he do things. The
probably
Erica
nice.
Badu style.
I think she do that to a lot of people.
I think she do. I think she
Yeah,
has
the
a
DOC
way about
too.
her that is just infectious, and not in a bad way, but a good way. You know what I'm saying? For
Yeah.
someone to take on her spirit, her state of being, and transform it in their own way to kind of replicate that is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She's imprinted on them. I believe, how they
Yes.
say men imprint on women. She's imprinting on men. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, put that stamp on it.
yeah, I think that's powerful. For a woman to imprint on a man, that's power.
Yeah.
You
I'm
leave.
trying to think of what pill I would take.
I have no idea yet. We're gonna have to bring that up for you. We need to save
That
that for
would.
next discussion because
That would be because that's
I'm really trying to think, and I'm like, ooh, it's nobody I really wanted to be like. Because
I mean, just for the
Or if you could put on like a suit for a day, and the suit would be that person, and you could just do it
I
out.
don't know if you think of a historical figure and someone of rebellious nature or something like that.
yeah. See, that's and there's a lot of elements I admire about Tyler the Creator, but I wouldn't want to put his suit on just for certain reasons. But
Certain reasons.
the way
He's free spirited.
he's one of the free spirited people I know. I'm like, dang,
Say what he wanna
gonna
say.
that? You gonna do that?
Right.
So
He'll
that-
say to a straight man, "You're beautiful." Or it's
like he on a different level of freedom. Like that's something that, like I said, not that I want to replicate it, but the freedom itself I do admire. I'm like, man, if only. I'm trying to. I had to think about that. Who
I had to
else?
think about that
That's
today.
like really, really just. I really like admire free thinking people. like
Yeah.
free-minded people, open,
Yeah.
just, you know, that'd be a good one. Okay. All right. We over 2 hours already. So we will, we gave encore presentation for Denise and Edward since they jumped in. It's good talking to y'all though. It was good seeing y'all, man.
It really was.
Yeah.
So
I heard I watched the whole show too earlier, right prior to me getting on. I was driving, so yeah, I was glad to be on here.
Oh yeah.
Nonetheless.
Well, yeah, y'all got to tell us later what you think about. I think people's sex being trash if they don't. I'm like, it must be trash. Like, why are you so? Anyway, we can talk about that another time. But thank everybody for tuning in, joining. Make sure you like, subscribe. If you haven't already, subscribe to the YouTube page. Keep posting your comments. There was a whole lot of topics that we didn't even touch, but we had a great conversation. But outside of that, y'all have a good night. Be safe, and see you later.
Bye.
Good night, y'all.
Good night.